Good evening. The time is 7:01 on Wednesday, October 8th. I call this meeting the Kingston Finance Committee to order. We will begin with a roll call since we have at least one member who is virtual this evening. Michael Cowett, present.
David, aye.
Marsha, present.
Derek Billnutzer present.
All right, we have all four members present and voting. We have a couple quick announcements. The Finance Committee has 3 vacancies. Capital Planning has a vacancy for an appointment made by this committee as well, although that may have been filled. And Community Preservation may have one as well. If you're interested in more information about any of those, please email FinCom, FINCOM, at kingstonma.gov. I do not see any members of the public other than folks who are in this room. Skip over public comment. Our meeting this evening is to review special town meeting warrant articles for the town meeting that is upcoming in just under 3 weeks, Tuesday, October 28th at 7 p.m. at KIS. Hope to see you there. And as we begin our review of the warrant articles, I am going to invite Keith Emberg up to discuss article, you're now 5, out of order so that he can be spared a full discussion of everything as it relates to the remaining articles, since I know he has been through a lot of that. Thank you for being here, Mr. Chairman, and I'm going to turn the floor over to you to walk our committee through this piece.
All right, thank you, and hello to everyone on the Finance Committee. So we have one capital item for the special town meeting, and it is the trackless machine for the Streets, Trees, and Parks Department. I've looked at the machine recently, and it is certainly within a state of dilapidation. I'll give a brief summary, go over a few points, and answer any questions that you have. The machine has an estimated service life of 12 to 15 years. We are at year 14 and a half. It was originally put on the capital plan to be replaced at next year's annual town meeting. At this year's annual town meeting, the interim superintendent of street, trees, and parks, Sean Turner, asked that we advance it by 1 year due to its condition. I think everyone was agreeable to that until we got more information about free cash in town meeting. Town Administrator Keith Hickey needed to withhold some free cash from capital. I think he saw that one item as one thing he could hold and get that amount of money, especially since it was originally planned for the following year. He took a gamble. He told the selectmen, that's what it came down to. And unfortunately, the machine is just not going to cross the finish line. I'll give some reasons why as to why that is. However, he has found some funding that you'll see in the article to pay for this without having to use a lease or debt, as we would say. So the machine does 5 essential functions for the town. In the winter, it goes out, it leaves the highway barn. It plows and does snow blowing with 2 different attachments. Of the sidewalks, it can also be used in tight spaces in other parts of the town, so maybe town parking lots or something where they can't get a larger truck into. In the spring, it goes out and sweeps the sidewalks. Twice a year, it goes out to, it has an attachment for heavy mowing. So it's not the same kind of a mower we'd use at Grace Beach or at the townhouse or the ball fields. It is a heavy mower. It is used to cut our slice of Bay Farm. And I imagine we try to do that around the same time Duxbury does theirs. And Callister Farm, so those 2 conservation properties, that's twice a year at each. It's also used to cut the cap over the town's old landfill. If we don't cut that and State Department of Environmental Protection comes out to inspect, they will not tread out on an unmowed field and they fine us for it. And I imagine they want to come back out as soon as possible. So you can imagine there's another opportunity to fine us if we don't mow it. Lastly, it's used for roadside brush cutting. So the brush cutter is, is a machine that just tears up all that brush that grows. Let me just go back and say that the field mower does not kick on. I just wanted to make that point now that attachment is essentially dead. The brush cutter is used, basically has an arm that's called a boom flail, and the brush cutter can be moved in and out, up and down. It cuts the brush along the side of the roads. That flail is bent. They've had to make a custom fabricated bracket to hold it together temporarily. The pins on it are failing. The pins are joints for the moving pieces of the arm, basically like elbows. Many of those have been replaced. They're very expensive. The unit itself, so the trackless machine minus its attachments, is two pieces, each with two wheels, and they're held together in the middle, kind of like a truck and a trailer kind of a thing. But there's a pin. That pin is wearing out. I talked to the fire chief. He doesn't believe it's roadworthy. He also told me that the brush is growing in towards the road, which is causing drivers to drive closer and closer to the center, which at mathematical probability, eventually someone's going to lose the side view mirror or have a collision. One of our fire engines has taken some of that brush, and one of our ambulances was scratched by it and had to be repaired. So the cost of it this year is right around $235,000. If we don't purchase it at special town meeting, it goes up by $14,500 next year. The boom flail, not all of the attachments have to be replaced, but the boom flail will be replaced. It's manufactured in Canada. Part of that price increase is $4,000 in tariffs. The machine is getting constant work. So the cost of waiting is the price increase next year. It's also, if we don't purchase one ASAP, we'll have to rent. The cost to rent per month is $5,000. The superintendent told me that you're lucky if you can find one. If you do, you can't guarantee that they have the attachment you need or that it's compatible with what you have. So there have been multiple, I told you about the pins being replaced. There was a joystick that's used for some of the control work. It's basically a chunk of plastic and rubber, and I'm sure there's an electrical component in there. The original ones no longer exist in parts inventories. They had to use a new one, which is still compatible. That cost roughly $5,000 to replace. The seat cushion needs to be replaced. The tires are special. It helps balance the machine. Some of its applications are called dual tires. Those need to be replaced. There is an expensive job replacing the clutch system. We were quoted $30,000 on the trade-in, but due to the clutch system and the wheel replacement needs, that trade-in was brought down to $8,000. If we purchase next year, it drops to $5,000. So we're losing money basically by holding it. Was another repair thing that I wanted to mention. I think. I'm jumping if you remember the tires. Yeah, I got the tires.
That other thing on the cold.
Fractured wheels.
But it was minor.
Pins. I got the pins on the failing the boom flail and the attachment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we definitely have gotten the picture.
Yeah.
This is a
You got the main.
It doesn't even stop there. I mean, look at the book they gave us.
fairly serious problem.
Yeah, and there's no, like I said, we have no substitution for it. The only substitution is renting, and I don't see as an option because I imagine any town that's going into winter has already said, we can't rent one for a storm. We have to rent one for the winter. The other thing is if we purchase this at a special town meeting, they can place the order immediately. We should have a new one within weeks. The dealer has inventory, a handful of them already. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention, and this is kind of the way I look at things in capital, is right now, a lot of the work is being done in-house by the mechanic that we have at the highway barn. When it gets beyond what's within his wheelhouse to do, they have to bring down a technician to run diagnostics. That's $200 an hour. When they find it, whatever it is, it's $250 to $300 each way for a tow to Woburn, because we can't trail it ourselves. We don't have a trailer for it, though we should. That'll be coming down the road. And that's just each way, not to mention parts and labor, which are very high. Right. When I went there, I went looking at the trucks in the new truck lift. The new trucks that were starting to come in from a year and a half before when we ordered them following town meeting. We had talked, you remember we had 4 trucks for highway department And we said we're reluctant that, the fire trucks, they galvanize the underside of the fire truck and they leave the snowplow trucks to rust, the manufacturers. And the fire chief said, there's a product called wool wax, put that on there, you'll extend the life of the underside of the truck. I went in there and the mechanic showed me the wool wax that he'd applied to one of the trucks to protect it from snow. Because unfortunately, I can't finish the trucks and we're approaching winter because I'm spending all my time on the trackless. So there's an opportunity cost there.
Yep.
And it just goes on.
Okay. Much appreciated.
Yep.
Let me open it up to members of the committee for any questions that they might have. I will start with Marcia. Do you have anything that I know we had a handful of questions that got addressed via email, which I appreciate. Kathleen's very quick turnaround earlier this afternoon. Was there anything else that you had as concerns about?
The funding source that they've come up with, it raises other questions, but the more important issue is getting this machine to be voted on at special town meeting. Those other issues can wait for another day.
Fair enough. David?
I'll defer to the end.
Derek?
Nothing from me.
Back to me then, I guess.
I'm gonna throw one out there first. $108,000 in salaries from, I kind of share some of what I anticipate are your
Yeah.
questions about the particular money trees. all
I
of
didn't
which
think
were
we should talk
shaking
about that yet.
cash, but what positions are not going to be running through streets, trees and parks or aren't filled?
So there was an addition of salary expense, when the DPW director position was proposed.
Okay.
So that is the funds, since that did not pass at town meeting. But it was already built into the budget. That's where those funds are. We continue to revisit it. It's a terrific program. I'm all for it, for a variety of reasons, but that, with it not being said, this is the one upside of it.
Understood.
And that's not on the special town meeting warrant for this October, correct?
No,
Has it been shelved, the whole
no,
concept?
they're still working on it.
But we just are now taking it out of the streets budget.
Just because of the nature and the unfortunate timing of this. This is just kind of,
Because I guess I didn't want to get into it, but leads to another question. If it hadn't been for the breakdown of this machine, would that money have just been left in the streets?
it would have
Budget?
stayed in the budget, and then at the end of the year, it would have turned back and
To
been.
free cash?
Yeah.
In
But it
terms,
didn't get turned back to free cash at the beginning of this fiscal year.
You're off by one fiscal
No,
year.
okay, to June 30, 2025.
Well, it wasn't in that. It
wasn't
wasn't in the
in that
fiscal
budget.
25 budget. It's fiscal 26.
They've been talking about it for quite some.
Yeah, so when the article for the DPW director was put forward at the annual town meeting in the spring, the corresponding salary line was part of the process.
But it failed, so why, okay.
Well, the budget passed.
The budget.
The budget,
Or
but
Yeah.
The DPW
failed.
director article was proposed.
I guess.
Okay.
Oh, and my other question was, what about the rooms, the meal tax receipts that could be put towards this?
Those are,
They don't want that, Keith.
that
They
has to go
go-
to debt.
It's sort of-
capital
okay,
stabilization,
that's
which is
all we
used for these payments.
And when will free cash be certified?
When the
Before-
state feels like it.
Before
Have we
January.
submitted everything?
No.
from us? When will all of our submissions be into the state so they can certify it
Before Thanksgiving.
before Thanksgiving?
So I'm on the cap planning committee, so I did a bunch of comments the other night, but this came into my brain after the fact, right? So you mentioned trailer, right? And part of the issue with this machine is it goes all over town, right?
So let me just say that when they do the sidewalks, it gets on the sidewalk here and it drives and it does its thing and it can always just come back to here. When it has to do some work off of North Pembroke Street out to Parting Ways. It's slow moving. It's not working while it's in transit, unlike when it's doing snow and sweeping. It rattles, and you're just because it's not a Jaguar, it's not a Cadillac, right? It's kind of a thing.
And if there's potholes and bumps, it's extra wear and
So
tear.
it's getting wear and tear. Their idea is to get a trailer for, I think it was 10 to 11,000 at some point, trailer it so that one, the employee can get there faster and not spend as much time in transit. Two, not put the wear and tear on the vehicle. You'll probably see that in the equipment article.
Yeah, I think
End of
it's
the
sort
year.
of like off-brand Roomba vibes. Description, like I'm
Yeah,
imagining the Roomba from the basement like shrieking at me at 3 a.m. Yeah.
but anyways, so this came up the other night and I got partway through it, but I didn't get all the way through it. So then my next question was, how the heck in town do we not have a trailer to transport this thing? And what came up was there is one trailer in town. It's owned by the sewer department. But when they bought it, they only bought it to fit the sewer equipment. It was short-sighted. It was only their need. They weren't thinking of the need of the whole town
The
Or the-
ratepayers paid for the trailer.
or the other uses that the town could use. Thus, this is another example for the folks at home, the Public Works Department. A Public Works Department would see the needs of the whole town, not just the needs of the sewer department, would have purchased a bigger trailer, and we could save $10,000 that we're now gonna have to get another trailer because of the short-sightedness of this. Second thing that came up to my mind as I was walking out of the building too was, I think they mentioned too, the different uses for this thing. So conservation's using it, the cap on the fill, but also I believe they said that the sewer department uses it for something at least once or twice a year.
Are
Which
we
that-
talking, are you sure we weren't talking about the factor truck and water? Or am I thinking about a conversation maybe I had with Sean on another?
Well, I don't know, but here's another point I wanted to make. I'm not sure the total uses for this. And we're skimming here for money, right? But if sewer's using this or water's using this, then some of those departments should be kicking in for the cost of this piece of equipment that they use, which we'd have to revisit. And it's probably a little late for that.
Yeah.
But then again, it goes back to should we even be discussing this? We had a public works department that didn't care. It'd be just all the town's equipment and we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
I think all those points are very well taken. I think in the interests of everyone's time this evening, given how much of this conversation has been ongoing.
Oh, yeah. I'm just raising.
Oh,
I'm just raising.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely with.
Not that I'm voting against.
No,
I'm just raising the points.
No, I understand, David, and I appreciate the points.
That's all I had.
If there are no other comments from committee members, I will entertain a motion with respect to Article 5.
It's now Article 5, right?
It is Article
To be
5.
Article 7.
Yep,
Language?
I'm trying to come up with something.
I think as long as it's just make a recommendation with respect to Article 5, I think that's fine.
I move to approve the funding of the FY26 capital equipment project funding for the roadside mower / sidewalk plow. Appropriate the sum in the amount of $235,000.
Okay. Does language work okay for you
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
Or you could put with funding as outlined in the.
Yeah.
As outlined in Article 1.
Yep. All right. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All right. All those in favor, David,
Hi.
Marcia.
Aye.
Derek,
Aye.
and I'm a yes. 4-0-0. Finance Committee recommends town meeting approval of Article 5. Thank you, sir,
Thank
very
you.
much
In
for
3
your.
days and 3 meetings, you got a vote of every voting member of the Board of Selectmen, the Capital Planning Committee, and Finance Committee.
I know.
That's one for the record book.
Yeah.
That's a big piece of scrap, so.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
All right.
Thanks, sir. Enjoy the
Thank
rest of
you.
your evening.
as well.
All right, we're going to move back to actually Chief Holmes, since you're up there, why don't we take the Article 6 and Article 10 items so that we can get you back to your family as well? Does that work, sir? Chief Holmes?
Probably.
Oh, he's coming, he's coming.
Trying to get the.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
All right. Would we can take the Article 6, Article 10 conversations out of order if you'd like, so we can get you through this process this evening. Does that work?
Sure.
All right. So Article 6 seeks to establish a Board of Police revolving fund to see if the town will amend one of the general bylaws to essentially, as I understand it, facilitate the management of civil forfeiture when funds or other goods are seized from those who are arrested under relevant concerns.
Yep, that's right. We have no mechanism right now to get rid of property that's considered by statute to be abandoned. There's a couple enabling statutes concerning abandoned property in Mass. Chapter 200, 960 CMR, but the one most related to this is Chapter 135. And what it does is if we have property that's defined as abandoned, if there's a known owner, the rule is 30 days. If we have to make a notification to the owner of their property, if there's no response to the last known address and things like that, the property is considered abandoned after 30 days. If it's the unknown ownership, we have to hold it for a year. After that, we're really just aggregating a whole lot of stuff. What this would allow us to do under national best practices, we're not an accredited agency, but if we were to become one, it's a national best practice to have this enabling statute, and it allows us to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff that we just don't need. We don't need to have it around, and we're responsible for it as long as we have it. Then what this would do is it would allow us to have basically a channeling mechanism to take any proceeds less a fee that would be paid to an auctioneer. Anything that would be left over would be payable to the general fund.
Okay. Do you have a ballpark estimate for about the value of how much is being held by the department at any given point?
No, I have no idea right now. We did do an evidence audit when it first arrived. Everything's accounted for.
Okay.
But I have no idea what would even be worthy of putting up for auction.
Okay.
But, you know, we're going to take the correct steps of making sure that we're on solid ground before we move anything out.
Okay. Other members of the committee, do you have questions for the chief with respect to this?
Yeah, Chief, are you gonna do, would you do an annual auction? I mean, how
No.
often does it happen?
No, it would happen when we have enough of an accumulation that would make it cost effective. You know, if we have, 4 or 5 items doing an annual, you're going to be paying an auctioneer a percentage. It's not worth it to do it. But to have this in place gives us a mechanism to be able to do it when we need to do it. There is hopefully on the horizon, there's a full-time accreditation manager that we'll be adding to the staff when we get the appropriate funding. And then hopefully, evidence. It's a very large responsibility, and it's a collateral duty that's probably 3/4 of the work that one of the detectives is doing. So we wouldn't do an annual, but we have the mechanisms in place to do it right when we need to offload stuff that we don't want to have in there.
And can you give me an example? Like, what are we holding? Like, what is the stop? Like, is there an example?
We could have had firearms that were seized based on issuance of a restraining order, and the owner of a cache of firearms has the right to be able to transfer those to bonded warehouse to be able to sell those and transfer them legally. But if they don't do that, and we're sitting on 10 rifles, and it's been 5 years and adequate notice has been given and everything, we want to auction that stuff off legally.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Okay. Good. Derek, go ahead.
Yeah, Chief Holmes, the way that I'm reading this is there a reason we're not going with like a criminal forfeiture as opposed to civil? Because the way I'm reading this is that it's a civil forfeiture, and I know that that's kind of been a hot topic as of late with some potential for abuse, depending. Not that I'm implying that we would do that. My concern is that it's just opening up a can of worms for that.
No, that's a fair question. So each criminal forfeiture has another enabling statute. So if you're trafficking in controlled substance of greater than, say, 50 pounds and your vehicle is being used as a conveyance for the trafficking of that substance, Chapter 94C has stuff built into it for the forfeiture of property based on criminal convictions. So if the person were convicted of trafficking, the vehicle could be taken by the district attorney's office. It could be sold at auction, and 1/3 of the proceeds given to us, or it could actually just be given to us, or different avenues. So there's a different enabling statute for criminal forfeitures, and most of the responsibility is overseen by the prosecuting agency.
Okay, so that would not be us in that situation. That would be the Plymouth DA or what have you.
Yes.
I got you. I got it. There's one for you. All right, Derek, does that kind of address your?
Yeah, I guess I just don't want to be in a situation where, and full background, I'm from Philadelphia, and Philadelphia had a massive problem with this, and the city ended up settling a lawsuit related to civil forfeiture. So it's just something that kind of is on my radar. Is there any way, if we adjust this to just refer to lost or abandoned, or does that change your ability to do anything? I guess I'm just looking to make sure we don't put ourselves in a situation that could be problematic down the road.
Yeah, so the language in this warrant article is taken from Chapter 135, and what it would do is it would eliminate things that we could get rid of, like, so firearms seizures or forfeitures are considered civil. If you lose your license, it's an administrative suspension or revocation. There's an appeal process for that actual licensing part of it, so it's all considered civil forfeiture under that. So it would limit our ability to get rid of stuff when we need to legally do it.
Gotcha.
Eric, I kind of share your concern about that. I'm aware, I think, of some of the same types of situations you're talking about. I guess what makes me maybe a little less hesitant is the sense that, given that the town of Kingston is 14,000 people and the city of Philadelphia is a very large multiple of that, I doubt very much that we are going to be in a position to, even if for some reason somebody did go down that road, in a position to generate the kind of volume. I mean, it sounds like, from what the chief said, we're sitting on stuff for a long time. Is that accurate, Chief?
It is. I mean, I've been candid with the people on the department. I'm going to be here for a short time. Succession is basically getting the department ready, and I could be gone in as early as 3 more years or 4 more years. And if we fix things right now, it enables the next person to take over and make sure that it's done the legal and proper way. When I mentioned stuff like about accreditation, there is a heavy series of checks and balances, whether you go state accreditation or federal CALIA. And all these things are built into accreditation standards, national best practices, and this is one of them.
All right. Marcia, Derek, Dave, anybody else? All right, I will entertain a motion.
Further.
All set?
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
I will entertain a motion with respect to Article 6.
I move to establish a board of police revolving fund. As
Outlined in the.
outlined in a warrant.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, Dave,
Dave, I.
Marcia,
Aye.
Derek?
Aye.
I'm an yes. So that is Article 6, 400. Finance Committee recommends approval of the establishment of a Board of Police revolving fund. All right, the other one is Article 10, which I understand is a very recent addition. There was an issue with the engine for a boat that is under the auspices of the harbor master, and this article seeks to transfer $32,000 from the Waterways Improvement Fund, which is a revolving fund. Yes. Special revenue. And that fund has a balance of just under $59,000, so we'd be left with a little less than 27,000. Do I have the basics there?
Yeah, that's about right.
All right, any questions or concerns? My understanding is that this is the basis by which the harbor master operates the tasks that are required.
We,
Um,
do we annually fund, the harbor master special? Where did the money come from, the 58,000?
So Waterways Improvement Fund, it's funded, that is where half the boat excise tax and mooring fees go to.
Okay, just one half of them?
Mhm.
Okay, and that's our revenue source?
Well, that is put in the Waterways Fund and then so those funds are used as, as voted, and this is the funding source for this article.
Okay, but they're really part of our general fund, and you just allocate them? Is that what
The
you're saying?
Waterway
No,
Fund is a
no,
special
yeah.
revenue
It's
fund.
special revenue fund,
Yeah.
and it comes from
Fees.
the fees that are charged, is that?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
paid to the town?
Yes, mooring fees
Mooring
and half of the boat excise taxes that are collected, those funds are put in a special revenue fund.
Okay, they're put.
And they stay there, and then
They
you
don't go in the
appropriate,
general.
no, they are appropriate from the Waterways Fund. This will go into the Harbor Master's operating fund, and then he will be able to,
What are
Like-
your average annual deposits in this one?
it's about 70,000, 80,000.
Okay.
The majority of the fees are from mooring fees. Boat excise is pretty nominal.
Derek, did you have something?
Yeah, and I feel like we should be asking this on everything. Have we looked at possibly repairing the engine?
It cannot be repaired.
And who made that assessment?
So Tom Taylor squeezed this in at the very last day for the deadline for for this past Tuesday's agenda. Yeah, it's similar to the situation that Mr. Turner's in about the availability of parts and whether or not you'd even be able to do it. And basically it's cost prohibitive. It's an aged piece of equipment, and replacement of the engine is the best solution.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
All good.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. Wish I knew more about. Is it an outboard motor, inboard motor? How old was the old motor? 32,000, is there a quote? Any supporting docs?
And I'm,
I don't know, but I'll take their word for it.
I'm curious if the annual deposit or receipts for the funding source is around $70,000. It seems like we would have collected most of those mooring fees already in FY 26. So,
No, I
No.
think the idea is the mooring fees probably come in toward the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, you're gonna pay them.
So that money that's sitting there, Marcia, is what would have been collected in, let's say, Q3,
Last.
Q4 of 25, so this spring. And it will be replenished, I guess, predominantly this coming spring.
right, that's what I'm worried about, when we're gonna be using this boat a lot. I mean, but if this is a carryover.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's funds in there from FY 25, and so there's, yearly contributions. I don't anticipate there being any other, substantial capital needs that the waterway funds will be paying.
And if I wanted to know what the fund balance was for this special revenue fund, where would I look?
In
Where-
Eunice? Or,
Where would I look on the town? Where is this listed? Anywhere?
On our website, where is it?
No.
Where is
Financials now.
Where do you can you see?
Ask Kathleen, I think is how you would get
yeah,
that
I don't
information.
normally put, like kind of running like special revenue balances up for. I mean, I guess we could, it'd be very onerous. I guess if we got another staff person, we could probably upload a lot of financials, but
I don't
that's
know
more, we do it annually, it's reported annually.
where. That's where I guess I
It's
looked.
on the
through my
combined
FY
balance sheet.
I looked through my
in the
FY
tax rate
26
recap.
budget book and I
It's
couldn't.
not in the budget book.
Where would I know Is it just part of general receipts?
No,
Where,
special revenue. Special revenue
but where do you,
on the combined balance sheet.
but I haven't seen a balance sheet for, FY 26.
Because
There-
you
I
do-
think her question is the oversight of the funds, like
Yeah.
how can the finance
I
committee
know.
oversee the funds when like this
it's
isn't
not usually something you would oversee. It's
what we
not,
are.
We are.
you are,
So
you're
you're
voting from a
looking at
set
that.
balance.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about like the oversight of the money on a monthly,
I
quarterly
know, I
or
just
annual
want to know,
basis.
Kathleen, where you're saying it's a carryover from FY.
Yeah, so the current balance in the account, right, you know, like when this came forward unexpectedly, last minute, is $58,699.77.
It, maybe, it,
I'll try to send you an email if,
If
explain.
you want to run
what
it
I'm
through my
looking
book,
for.
I'd be happy
What
to
I'm
go
looking
over it. Yeah,
I will.
so we,
It's not in the, you're not,
I don't find it.
it's
I
not in your budget.
searched
Yeah.
it's not, well,
Yeah.
special revenue,
everywhere I.
it's special, if you would let me, I could explain it to you. Special revenue funds are not reported in the budget book.
Where are they reported? So as a citizen, forget, citizen just wants to know. Where can I get a list? Of
Probably in the
all-
annual report, I mean, all the reports that we put together that's submitted to the state is put in the annual report, but there's a lag time, you know, of course, from.
Yeah, because the
compilation,
annual report
printing.
comes out on an annual basis and we
Right.
operate on a fiscal basis, so the.
Well, it's
trying to match those two.
The,
reporting
every
I
financial.
I want to belabor this, I will.
Well, I'm gonna
Absolutely.
just make it so because it's, you know, obviously important to you, so all the financial reports in the annual report are for a fiscal year. So they're as of June 30th, as of the year,
yeah.
so.
You mean the town report, the annual report,
Yeah.
The book, yeah.
the big book?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's financial reports in that book, and it's also on the website.
But we won't have that book for FY 26.
Well, we're in FY 26 this year.
I know, so there isn't an FY 26 book. I can go back and I guess you're telling me I should go back and look at the FY 25 book. I will.
The
Because
FY
that's where
25
that
book is-
$59,000.
And what?
But I'm happy to give you the information, you know, on a more regular basis if you like. But we don't normally compile balances for every special revenue fund. But for annual basis because of as part of the tax rate setting and getting free cash certified.
Chief, I think wants to add something with respect to this.
Yes, I don't know if this will help or make it more convoluted. It's the special revenue fund. It's almost like an appendage of the town government. It's self-sustaining. As Kathleen said, most of the revenue comes from the moorings and the slips. You know, it's all public. It's a public record. You can make a public records request, and as a committee member, you can certainly have that made available to you through the accountant. It doesn't sound to me like it's something that's normally reported in the annual budget through the town, but it's all public information.
And I think the other piece I think that may be missing is I think it works off of a balance. Like I think there's an amount of money that we're drawing from, and it will obviously decrease as a result of this, but I don't think it zeros at any point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
don't think funds like this, we have a number of funds. I mean, they're not all exactly the same, but a lot of the stuff in the town that deals with the various aspects of water, wastewater, run somewhat outside. And I have some ideas that I think are probably best kind of held until we get into more of the annual piece of this. But I think there's some ways to maybe make this a little bit more
I'd like a
straightforward.
little more transparent is what I'm saying.
Okay.
For this, you know.
Do you have any additional concerns? Okay. Derek,
Can I ask one quick question for the chief that kind of came up? Are we talking about a twin motor situation, or are we a single motor? I'm just wondering if we have no vehicle or no propulsion on our boat right now.
So it's the main response vehicle for the harbor master. It's the one that I got a tour of the harbor on, and it's a single engine, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Outboard motor, chief. Outboard motor. right?
Yes, I don't speak fluent boat, but if I remember
Next
correctly,
door of us.
it's an outboard motor.
That's what I assume. I think I've seen it around.
Yeah,
And I don't know enough about boats that 32,000 is what one costs.
I mean-
I know it is, I think it is one of the bigger of the outboard motors.
I worked in a marina.
Yeah.
my understanding is that BOAT is actually an acronym that stands for Bring Out Another Thousand.
Break out another 1,000.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't have
Okay.
one.
All right, can I?
We had the
entertain a
motion.
We have a motion.
We had the motion, right?
No, you don't have a motion on that. I'll
right.
entertain a motion with respect to Article 10.
So I move to
Finance Committee recommend approval.
Finance Committee recommend approval. The transfer of a sum of $32,000 from the Waterways Improvement Fund to purchase a new boat engine for the Harbor Masters 2014 24-foot Parker boat.
All right, is there a second?
I second.
All right, all those in favor, David,
Dave, I.
Marcia,
Marcia, aye.
Derek,
Aye.
and I'm a yes, 4-0-0 on Article 10. Chief,
you all,
thank you
Mr.
very
Chair.
much. Do you have
Yes,
anything
thank
else
you,
for
Chief.
us this evening?
No, thank you all. I appreciate you getting me in, and I'll see you around town.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, while we're kind of in that end of the warrant, I want to just verify this with everybody else. I did not intend to entertain motions with respect to Articles 8 or 9, no solicitation or the clerk position. I'm sure we have thoughts about those, but
They're not finance. There's no money
I-
for those orders.
well, which one, 8 or 9?
But
Well, you can tell me.
you have, I guess, all the time this evening.
No, I
You
don't.
know, I know you
Thank you.
gotta get meetinged out this evening.
Can we talk about them? Maybe not vote on them, just answer my question?
Sure. We discussed it at length last night.
I know, and I watched some of it on my hour and a half commute. But I got sidetracked. There's a no vote. And,
For which one?
I'm sorry, I'm on Article 9.
9. That's the.
Hold on. And Article 9 is that the one I want to talk about? No, hold on.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
change clerk to.
No, not that one.
You want to look at the
Uh,
Peddler one?
No.
The
actually, I'm good.
non-solicitation.
It's one we're gonna look at.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm off.
I,
I'm off.
like,
Good.
I was happy to entertain it, Dave, but I
No,
really
no,
had
no.
no idea where you were going with
No,
that.
it's another one. It's another one.
All right,
If you were
Okay.
curious about like the votes who voted
No.
nay on both of them, I think that was Carl, so.
Yeah.
all right. So we are set
The old man who likes peddlers.
with
Yeah,
5, 6,
I could have
and
guessed it was
10.
Carl.
I think, you said it, Dirk. I'm gonna flip us back to
Okay,
the
go
start, and we are going to resume with Article 1. We're 3 for 8 here. Article 1 concerns partial replacement of Kingston Elementary School roof. I feel like there have been conversations with respect to this since I was on Kingston Elementary School Committee, which is now 3.5 years ago, for a long time. This involves the borrowing ultimately of a little over $1.25 million for partial roof replacement. Since I believe there are some longstanding and substantial concerns with respect to that. This is to support an MSBA grant that is already kind of well along in the process. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, it's actually, it's not a grant, it's a reimbursement program.
Okay.
There's a lot of factors, which I can't speak completely to, but like there's, as most of the school funding is based on.
Yeah.
Various factors. But, so this is an application process. You have to go through considerable, design and engineering proposal.
Yeah.
And so this is part of the process to, you have to show, once you're going through it for them, insofar as the actual, how many, where they are exactly with MSBA, it is contingent, of course, on you providing a funding source.
Yeah.
So, and it's a reimbursement program, so the town would pay and then be reimbursed by, which is the Massachusetts School Building Authority. So.
Okay. I would add before I open this one up that my understanding is that particularly since COVID, the schools have had a great deal of frustration with the MSBA grants in this regard work off of a threshold of age. So they only entertain repairs to structures or parts of structures that are a certain number of years old. And we ended up, I believe, 2 or 3 years under that threshold for something like 5 years.
Well, they
run.
keep raising the threshold.
Well, exactly, because that is based on the amount of funding that is available, and that is obviously subject to the whims of our friends up on Beacon Hill.
We just got told to, I think, bite the bullet.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to address, so that 1 the way you worded that 1.26-ish million,
Mhm.
is that the full cost? And then there is a percentage, which I think for Kingston is, let's say, roughly 40 that comes back, or is that
Yeah.
60% that goes unreimbursed?
So that I'm not 100% sure of, to be honest with you, because this
Okay.
was all done by the school and this was just kind of put in the warrant, once they're going through the process.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the actual percentage is, for reimbursement based off
Yeah.
of the project cost is fixed until you get to certain criteria. So I
Yeah,
really
okay.
couldn't say like exactly what the percentage is.
It was like,
They haven't voted on it.
All right, all right.
I think it was 52. Or they
I was
were-
I was
they were
gonna say,
saying 50.
I
Yes,
have heard
it
that,
works
but
in
I
this,
don't
like-
wanna like commit to
Yeah.
it because I just haven't been told directly.
these like brackets, these like 9 brackets, and we
Yeah.
fall not in the bottom 3 and not in the top 3. I
Yeah.
don't remember which of those 3 in the middle
It's
Either way.
we fall.
a very involved process.
Yeah.
So, there are.
I would also say that for as much as I think people watching and all of us are probably gonna blanch a little bit at $1.25 million, the cost to partial, right? But the cost of we don't do this and something goes further wrong is gonna have at least another 0 attached to it.
And my understanding is that this cost has gone up.
Along with everything else on the
Right,
plan.
every year when they look at this and they hope that we're within the 25-year roof, the 30-year, and it's not, it's just gone up and up and up. I mean,
My
I don't
hope
think
is
it's
we
gonna get
just,
any cheaper.
I do also, I'm fairly certain, although I'm happy to be corrected, that some of this, I think, relates to some damage that we did unintentionally that I hope we can avoid repeating, but
Yeah,
it's,
Yeah,
I think
that's
I
like-
think that you're correct on
Yeah.
that. I feel like David, when you and I did the tour, we talked about the
Yeah.
fact that there would been faulty repairs that actually
Yeah.
contributed to damage.
yeah, like I think they
Was that
tried
on
to get,
KIS, not KE?
yeah, that's my hesitation is it's one of the two.
I think it was IS.
At any rate,
Yeah, they're removing snow off of the roof.
yeah,
The only other, I noticed that the school committee and the capital planning committee have not yet voted on this article yet.
We voted, Cap voted.
Oh, they
Who's-
didn't.
That might-
They have done it
0-0.
a while ago. It wasn't at
I
Capitol
think I don't
yesterday.
think it's that they haven't
Monday.
voted, Marcia. I think it's just not recorded.
It's just not recorded. Okay,
Yeah,
that just struck me as
I think it
terribly
was
odd.
Yeah.
done some time ago.
Why didn't they vote?
Yeah, we
I
don't,
we
Yeah,
were good with it.
Okay.
I don't
You're
know off
okay?
the top of my
Yeah, we were
head.
good with-
Mention that.
Yeah, we were good with
Yeah,
it.
I don't know off the top of my head. I would be astounded if there were no votes for this sort of project
Me
on
too.
school committee.
I know it. I just don't know when it was
Yeah.
Yeah.
discussed or voted because this has been such a long.
All right, as long as that, I'm just, that struck me as.
All right, Derek, good. Marcia, Dave, you know that. All right, I'll entertain a motion with respect to Article 1.
I second it.
I haven't made a motion.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Same day the
Cool.
motion.
I move the finance committee recommend that town meeting approve Article 1. Motion's been moved and seconded. Dave,
Say aye.
Say aye, Marcia.
Derek,
I
and I'm an aye. 4-0-0 FinCom recommendation of approval of Article 1. Article 2 is a supplement to the operating budget for the planning department in the amount of $12,800 to account for increased administrative wages based on expected increases and ongoing increases in activity, thanks to the lifting of the water moratorium. Do you want to add any color on this other than that before?
No, that's pretty self-explanatory. But for, there is a reference, to, like, it's not gonna be impactful. It's gonna be offset by the increase in,
Right.
building, permit.
Permit.
Yeah.
Do we have a ballpark sense of about what that translates to in terms of hours, like what we're hoping to?
Well, for a benefit position, part-time, it's 19 hours. No more than 19 hours.
Okay. All right, questions, thoughts? This seems to me to be in the category of good problems to have in the long run.
Yeah, since we have this, our receipts from building inspections are running way ahead. I think that's.
Do you have a building inspector yet?
No.
That's a process. I mean, I can speak to that from a wage and personnel standpoint, but it's a process.
Okay.
Awesome. I'm gonna move us along and move the finance committee recommend approval of Article 2.
I second.
All right, all in favor, Dave,
Aye.
Marcia,
Aye.
Derek,
Uh,
I'm an aye, 400. Article 3 is a similar request, although with a different motivation for the assessing budget. This would raise an appropriate or transfer $100,000 to begin getting the ball rolling on the 5-year revaluation process. And I am informed that doing this through this part of the budget cycle rather than the main one allows us to be at a different and hopefully more advantageous part of the line for the services of the relatively few vendors who are able to do this. It incorporates both revaluation of personal property as well as commercial real estate. The funding source here is the overlay surplus account for the benefit of some of our non-regular viewers. Do you mind explaining in 30 seconds what that does?
Don't time me. The overlay surplus is actually funds that are transferred from the overlay, which is an allowance for abatements and exemptions. So anytime there's any types of abatements, we set aside a certain dollar amount of funds. They stay in the funds, and as they build up, we're able to release some and then use it for that. And it's under the purview of the assessing department, so it's a very reasonable funding source for this type of project.
And I assume the idea is that not only is this required and causes considerable problems if not done properly, but also done properly allows us to provide more accurate bills and therefore
Exactly.
collect tax revenue that we're owed and capture that, which I don't know if that's enough to defray the entire cost, but certainly to take a big chunk out of what we're spending.
Very advantageous, and it is required.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know.
That's kind of required. All right, Dave, anything for this? Marcia?
Oh, yeah, I have, what is I know the overlay surplus, call it the overlay surplus, you said that, how much of that? $1,185,936.99 has been certified by the Board of Assessors.
So the overlay account is not something that is actually is certified by the Board of Assessors.
Well, that's what the state,
The Board of Assessors is going to vote to release 100,000 from the overlay account to be transferred to overlay surplus.
okay,
The overlay surplus is then it's a specific designated account, which doesn't require further votes to appropriate.
I know that, but the overlay surplus is certified by the assessors. Okay, correct?
They
By
vote-
state law.
They vote to transfer the funds to overlay surplus. You don't necessarily
I know, but I'm
certify that 100,000, like you don't certify the funds once they're transferred
Okay,
into it.
But you answered that there is $1,185,936,000 in the overlay account.
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay. And of that sum, what amount is not needed or estimated by the assessors to cover anticipated property tax abatements, exemptions, uncollectible taxes? All right, all of those things. how much of that 1.185 million is needed for that specific purpose? Because that's what the overlay is for.
So the overlay account is something that we report on at the end of the year as part of the free cash and tax rate setting. So
I know, but again, I know that. I know how that works. I'm just asking you, of that 1.185 million, do you know what portion? If they're voting to take out 100,000, that's saying to me that there's 100,000 surplus in that 1.185 account. I'm saying if there's 100,000 surplus, how is there more than 100?
no, it's pretty close to that.
Okay, well, that's the good, so.
So what I was
you're
gonna say is
saying-
it's balanced against the receivables, the real estate and personal property balance receivables and pending ATV cases, which are the appellate tax board. Those are compiled to a dollar amount. That number is offset against the overlay balance. And then you get the difference, right? And then you also take into account the contribution that we'll be making when we set the tax rate.
But that,
So the 100,000 is about what is remaining in surplus. It's not a large slush fund. There's not an inordinate amount.
because I'd like to know, and if you.
There's not a great deal of money sitting there that,
Can
can be.
you provide us with some kind of an accounting? You're saying, is it only 100? How do I know?
They're
that?
comfortable releasing $100,000.
But I would like to see the data. If there's more than 100, then that's money that should be made available.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but that can't just be taken out and used.
Yes, it can.
It can be voted, it can be, there's no certificate, it can be voted by the Board of Assessors to be transferred to overlay surplus, which then can be used for any lawful purpose.
Anything we want,
But
anything.
we have done a very low contribution to the overlay account in the past couple of years because of how tight the budget is. There is not a large amount of money. And we took out funds in the budget last year.
Yeah.
So of 100,000. So there really is not a ton of money. I have an accounting which I put together for the Board of Assessors. I can show you the balances of what we anticipate.
That would be great.
It is very nominal, the remaining funds. We're also going to have additional charges against it because of the Springtown meeting when we had the HERO Act where there was going to be larger abatements on certain taxpayers. That process really hasn't gone through a full year. So it is hard to tell exactly how many people are going to participate.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be below the threshold because the state will make you raise that if they don't deem it to be an appropriate balance.
Okay, Marcia, I hear your concerns. I think as far as it goes tonight, my impression is that for the purpose of conducting the reevaluation, which is a legal requirement, this is a viable funding source for which we have this, but not a whole lot more than this money, and that therefore we can do this. And I think maybe if it's all right with you, kind of table and postpone.
I think it's premature. I think it's an FY27 budget item.
It's not.
I don't agree with you, Kathleen, with all due respect. I don't. I think that this should be addressed in either, it should have been included in the FY26 budget, and it wasn't. I don't understand why. Or we should just tackle it in the FY27 budget.
Well,
That's my vote. That's my.
oh yeah, I mean, you're certainly welcome to vote that way. As the assessor had kind of explained the process, that was the reasoning for putting it on this town meeting, because we knew months and months in advance we were going to do this.
I know you know that. There's a 5-year plan. It should have been put before us for FY26. That's what I think.
Okay.
If that was really what you wanted to do, if you wanted to start it in January of 26, then you knew it was going to be an FY26 undertaking. I mean,
I'm happy to have you discuss this with the assessor, because this is something that she's put forth along with her Board of Assessors, who are actually other assessors from other towns. So between the four of them, this was the well thought out long-term plan. This is what they deemed to be the best solution for the revaluation.
I just think it should come up in FY 20. It should either come up in FY 26 or it should come up in FY 27. That's my opinion. I haven't seen any proof that we're gonna miss the deadlines or anything like that. I just think this is a
Okay,
lot.
I'm happy to revisit that conversation moving forward. I think for right now, I'm gonna ask that unless there's some other dimension to this people want to explore, I would entertain a motion with respect to Article 3.
All right, so I move for the finance committee to
Recommend approval.
recommend approval of the supplemental FY 26 operating budget for assessing and to appropriate or transfer $100,000
For revaluation.
for reevaluation.
All right, motion made. Is there a second?
I'll
Actually,
second.
now that, I amended the warrant last night and then somebody else amended their version, and I'm just realizing that this is, it's not supposed to be the operating budget. It's just,
Just to raise and appropriate.
No,
No.
What part? Oh,
No,
you're concerned
so-
about the title.
yeah, so it is not, we're not actually supplementing the operating budget. This is gonna be a standalone, special article. So my apologies for missing that. My version has it. Let me just.
I mean, the title is not especially
I just-
operative.
I just don't want.
I hear you. Yeah, I
Because it's
hear
a multi-year project.
Yep.
yeah,
Operating makes it seem like it'd be
Yeah.
limited to FY 26. So I just wanted to just kind of.
does that change the voting?
No,
To
no,
2/3
No.
or anything like that?
no.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
so my apologies. So we're gonna be a special purpose article, where it carries forward. So I apologize.
So what do you
for
wanna
the
call it?
oversight.
I'm gonna make a friendly amendment that we call this Article 3 a supplemental fiscal 26 budget for assessing and just strike the word operating.
Yeah,
Is that,
Okay, sure.
all right,
yeah, good.
all right. Motion's been made. Derek, I think you seconded. All right, I'm gonna take a vote here. David,
Aye.
Marcia,
No,
Derek,
Aye.
and I'm a yes. The Finance Committee recommends approval of Article 3. I vote of 3-1-0. We got two more. Next one, Article 4 is supplement to the fiscal 26, and this is the operating budget for veterans, yes?
Yes.
All right, fiscal 26 operating budget for the Veterans Department. This is going to supplement the town's operating budget for fiscal 26 as a kind of, I think, not quite a placeholder, but a first step toward the division of labor and costs with our friends in the town of Duxbury. Ultimately, to have these services, the town of Duxbury would, or the town of Kingston would expend about $140,000 on our own. Partnering with the town of Duxbury is going to divide that in half to about $70,000. This is going to, as I understand it, kind of get us onto the first rung of that ladder for the administrative position that's going to work on cases for veterans in both Kingston and in Duxbury. Questions?
How didn't we budget for this?
I don't.
Originally.
The discussion of creating a veterans district, this began very recently. So this was actually, in order to make this be a viable solution, they had to have another staff person in order to do the tasks for both towns.
And
But they
this was
realized
budgeted
it's
for as the
gotta be-
veterans agent. This was already in
sorry?
the budget in this was already in the
We already-
veterans department
We
budget.
do have a,
We have a veterans agent
Yeah.
who's budgeted, but this is for an admin for that, for the veterans agent.
Oh,
and
okay.
so
Oh, so
the
this is for
now-
the supplemental. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so this is gonna be just for the administrative agent, to have an admin, because now she's gonna be doing it for two towns. Is
All right.
really what it is.
I do want to just.
But shouldn't we be saving money?
We are.
This is what I'm gonna get at. The veterans agent salary line item off the top of your head is approximately what?
I got this.
She's got it.
All right,
I got it.
do you have the number?
About, I think it's about 65.
Okay,
It was the veterans agent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is about
you're around
65.
the ballpark.
in salary plus the multiplier that takes in benefits, right?
Right, which would be the employee benefits.
Right,
yeah.
Budget, yes.
So I think the idea of that $70,000 number is that this $13,000 is added on the front end. But that facilitates the reimbursement from Duxbury of half of the total of this on the other end.
I just don't see that. I mean, we're thinking
There-
it does. I just don't see that.
There's the agreement attached to the email, which indicates the agreement signed between the two board of selectmen for Duxbury and the board of selectmen for Kingston, which indicates that they're going to be reimbursing us 50%. We've discussed this at Wage and Personnel, and this is a cost savings for the town.
Okay, so our $65,000 line item,
It's 67,000.
$67,000 line item
Mhm.
next year turns into what?
Yeah.
What'll happen is, well, we're also looking at a step increase for the veterans agent because they're going to be having some additional responsibilities between both towns, but there's also going to be an administrative individual there. So really I mean, I'm being overly aggressive here. It'll drop down to 50
For savings.
for save. Yeah. So we'll save whatever, $17,000, and that's being aggressive there with what, or that's being conservative rather with what I think would be saved. When this was discussed at the Board of Selectmen too, this is presented as it is presented, and from my understanding of it, is going to be a cost savings for the town.
Yeah.
Right. All right. We just got to remember to look at that line item when we do
Yes.
the annual budget.
Again,
Yeah.
I just haven't.
The preliminary
But
already took that into account.
If you looked at it, Derek, and think that budget, $67,000 salary will go
I'm
down.
gonna try.
So yeah, there's going to be, there's support staff that's being hired, which is, I believe, what this item is for. And
Yeah.
then, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're still, I mean, and our veterans agent is Duxbury, is the former veterans agent for Duxbury. We stole
Right.
it.
Right.
Well, stole, hired, whatever.
We stole it.
Yeah. So they
I
have
got it.
familiarity.
I'm good.
I'm okay with
I'm
it.
good.
If you're okay, if you've already looked at it
We just got to remember to.
Yeah,
and you think there's a cost saving, I'm okay.
I mean,
When
the numbers are there's definitely cost savings here, and we're going to be able to deliver better services to both towns. So
Mhm.
it's
And I think because-
regionalization.
Fine.
Michael's favorite word.
But, that's why sometimes because it, is a process, the nature of this, like you have to add that.
yeah.
So it looks like an increase, but once everything's signed and approved by the state, then you can implement it, and so you'll get additional funding. So the budget will remain, but you will be
That's
getting
what I'm.
the reimbursement for it.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna
Yeah,
ask, is
yeah.
that, so when we report or when we get the 17-inch binder with the budget for next
Mhm.
year, that veterans line item, to your point, is not gonna change. What's gonna change is the revenue explanation at the
Exactly.
front, which is gonna include at the frail, and that's, I think, what is getting to your frustration with a lot of how this moves around,
Right.
which I think I hear loud and clear,
Yeah.
and which we're gonna work on
We have,
as we absolutely, as we get into.
we're the citizens representative.
Agreed.
Speaking as a citizen, it's
Agreed.
like, you shouldn't have to spend 24,
Yeah.
a week trying to get to the bottom of.
All right. Are there any other dimensions left unexplored for this? Then, in the interest of time, I move the Finance Committee recommend approval of Article 4, a supplement to the fiscal 26 operating budget for veterans in the amount of $13,000.
Second.
All right. My motion gives Marcia the second. Roll call vote. David,
Aye.
Marcia,
Aye.
Derek,
Aye.
and I'm on yes, 4-0-0. We have made it to the end. I suspect this may engender some similar conversations, but we will find out. Article 7 is a supplement to the fiscal 26 operating budget for the wastewater enterprise fund to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds in treasury, or borrow a sum of $82,000 to be expended pursuant to Mass General Law for a wastewater department operator full-time and a clerical assistant position part-time to facilitate the establishment of a preventative maintenance program for a collection system that grows older by the day, as well as clerical support for work that it sounds like they are struggling to do. I guess imagine other folks may have some questions. Is there, now this comes out of the wastewater, so this is not, this comes out of a revolving, they're an enterprise fund, right?
There we
So-
go.
Right. It's hard to say that it's off books when we've got this many pages or appendices to the books, but at any rate, do we have a sense for what drove this to come up now as opposed to through the annual budget? process?
Without getting too much into personnel, there is one laborer who has been out
Okay.
for a considerable amount of time.
Okay,
That backlog has, it's kind of exponential, it really snowballs. And with the increased septage, which is from other sites that get brought and processed through the treatment center, there's the addition of that work. And then there's now that they have the fully operational, system, now that it's been fully expanded, there's more work. So, what they're trying to do is to do more preventative maintenance, because if they have contractors come in and vendors to do it, it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
And it's limited in their scope. You're not going to be like, come for a few days and, get through what you get through. So what they're trying to do is to get on a better preventative maintenance schedule. And there's always issues. I mean, they had like a power issue and this pump, and to get even pump service, they have to usually go to Connecticut and things like that. It's very time consuming, and it's only like 5 or 6 guys over there as it is. It's a large plant that requires a great deal of it's very labor intensive. So
okay,
and now that the leaching field, is kind of, there's, another thing to manage. There's a lot, and it is, I talked to Dave Walsh, who's the wastewater superintendent, and, we discussed this at length, and he's like, I just can't get ahead of the work. I just really need another person. So,
And they're making a lot, they're hauling a lot of septic.
yeah.
They're taking in a lot of revenue.
You know why they need a loan?
Yeah.
So why they need 150 grand from us at town meeting,
When with that, the annual time?
and they needed it every year for the next 20 years.
Yeah, hey, what can I tell you?
All right,
That's my problem.
that's fair. That does address my question, but I think just in the interest of everything, that
Right.
is
I need
probably.
it. I know you.
Well, hold on. So that's my one sticking point, right? We didn't have any money, right? And that was a close vote at town meeting,
Yeah.
whether to give them 150K, and they wanted it actually every year for 20 years. Then very soon after town meeting, now all of a sudden, we have increased septage, and so much increase, we need to hire another person. This was the level service budget. This was the level service budget.
Do we derive
We're adding a
revenue
body.
from processing septage that's not?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
So they,
I'm sorry, what was the question?
so they haul it in.
Right,
Yeah, so they charge per
Right.
whatever measurement the units
Right.
cubic something. Okay.
Yeah, so that is, and now that, unfortunately, other people's failures become an advantage to.
Right.
But, the understanding and to address your concerns about the debt, the additional that was voted, so 137,000 and change or something like that. So that was the 1 year, that was to kind of catch them up, while they implemented the additional user fee that they had to assess for the debt service for the leaching field. So, they were able to get through, and luckily they're making good choices, and, their rates and their revenue are in better situation, and then it can be revisited again for 27. I mean, this is not I don't believe that, you
Yeah.
can make the argument, like you said, that you would continue that subsidy every year.
Oh, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to.
I know, but
They wanted to. They tried to vote 20 years worth in one meeting.
Yeah.
Here's my sticking point on this, and I'll
It was-
say my
Derek,
sticking
give
point.
me Derek, 1 sec, sorry.
My sticking point is this is a level service budget. This is adding a body in the middle of the year. I'm not in favor of it. So is one of the Board of Selectmen members. This is no different than fire or police or anyone else. It's a level service budget. Sorry, we're not adding. Come back to us in the spring and we'll revisit the whole thing.
Derek, what were you?
Yeah, no, I just pulled up the warrant from last year to read about it. My understanding was that is that sewer rates were just going to go up if the town as a whole didn't vote to, because the nature of this fund is the nature of the sewer department is that it has to be a flat budget. So
Yeah.
user fees are
Right.
just going to go up.
But they did go up. They did that too.
Yeah,
Well-
no, my understanding is that was sort of an attempt at a compromise between dumping the entire bill on the ratepayers versus
Yeah.
spreading the joy a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the schools, you go into our schools and they're asking for bodies. There's 24, 25 kids in a class. We told them, no, that's the budget. Stick to it. I'm sure they'd like another 2 bodies. I'm sure the fire chief wants another body. I'm sure everyone wants another body. Sorry, spring. I'm just one vote. I'm sorry. But I'm gonna be consistent across the board, across all departments, unless there is some major need. I don't know. No one showed me that there's a major need.
As I mentioned, this was just something that was, it was, very recent at this, everyone had the opportunity to submit what they wanted to put forward, for the warrant, and then once it was put together, that's what, we came to realize was requested, and it's worth discussing.
Yeah.
All right. Without any other conversation, interest of time, I will move the finance committee recommend approval supplemental fiscal 26 operating budget for the wastewater enterprise fund. David,
Nay.
Marcia.
Do you want me to second it?
Sure.
Seconded. Good.
Yeah, now it's post seconded.
Go,
So you're
second.
still there.
Second.
I vote yes.
Derek,
I'm a yes.
I am a similarly reluctant yes. That is a 3-1-0 vote. Does anyone
But thank you for
have
bringing that up,
comments,
David. I appreciate that.
I appreciate it.
questions, or concerns related to this or anything else they may wish to address this evening before we all go home and catch a couple periods of the Bruins?
My God.
Yankees are on.
Hopefully for the last time.
Why
this
would
year.
you even say that?
Yeah, I was hoping we could have an excuse to go home and watch a Red Sox game tonight, but apparently offense isn't a thing. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. David,
Second. What?
No, yeah.
Oh,
You have to vote now,
Oh,
David.
yes, 819.
Marcia,
Yeah.
819.
Derek,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. The finance committee meeting adjourns at 8:19 PM.
Good job.